All right, guys, today marks a very special day because you are nearing the end of 2025, and most of you don't have a single clue which niche to get into. And that's probably one of the most important decisions that you make throughout this journey. So I've spent a lot of time combining what I feel are probably some of the worst and also some of the best niche for you to get into now in 2025 so you can still get a bag before the end of the year. Guys, we're in Q4, one of the most profitable times on YouTube. If you guys didn't know, Q4 pays the highest amount out of all the quarters. So you definitely want to get in at least now and capitalize on the extra bonuses. But guys, I've gone through so many different niches and I'm going to go through one by one. First of all, ranking them from S to D tier and going one by one, giving you guys the 3 C's, all right? The content difficulty, the cost to create, and the competition. And also my final say on whether you should attempt this niche at all or scrap it in the garbage, all right? So we're gonna go one by one. It's gonna be kind of a comprehensive video. Might be a long one, but guys, if you cannot sit through something like this, it's gonna be very difficult for you guys to succeed because you need to know, first of all, which niche to get into and also why you should get into these or shouldn't get into them. And if you do, exactly how to execute them. Every single niche I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna give you guys a piece of gold or nugget that's kind of really gonna help shape your entire journey, right? Because if you know this information, it's going to help you make better decisions. And if you don't know it, it's going to probably prevent you from succeeding quicker or actually making less mistakes. So definitely want to watch the video to the end. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to join my free school community. It's going to be the first link in the description. There's already almost 10,000 people. It's one of the biggest communities out there right now. Definitely want to join. We have a free course. We are live. All the goodies, right? So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So first and foremost, let's start off with the first channel on the list, which is Discover the Nation. All right, Discover the Nation is a really interesting niche idea because there's really not that much competition in something like this. It's more or less just picking a specific state. You could also do this in Canada, same thing, pick a province. You could also do this literally anywhere around the world. Choose your own home country and just make updates on the housing circumstances, right? So basically, there's always going to be some things that are happening, shifts, evolutions, ups and downs with housing. And so if you can create videos revolving around what's happening, you're going to do really well because people either want to buy houses or they want to sell houses. They want to know what the trajectory is of the housing market because it's a huge determiner of how the economic situation is in that country, right? Or the city or the state. So this channel specifically has done the US, right? And there's a lot of other channels I've seen done with Canada, but really there's not that much competition here. There truly is not that much competition. So the videos are really quite simple to make. You don't have to go crazy with the editing. They're very, very simple editing. Like you can hire someone probably for around $30 to $50 per video to have them edited. Everything can be done with AI. So the scripting can be done with AI. The voiceover can be done with AI. And the thumbnail can also technically be done with AI, or you could use Canva. You don't have to go too crazy. It's literally just an image in the background, right? Some sort of like third bird's eye view, and then some text, you know, some yellow with some white. I see some with some red and some white. That's basically it. You don't have to go too crazy. Maybe throw some stuff, Trump or whatever political leader is currently running that city or state. And that's pretty much it. So just kind of create content revolving around what's happening, economic situations. Now, the easiest way to do this is literally just to go to your local websites, right? So there's a lot of news outlets that are covering what's happening, media coverage, right? So if you go find the local websites that are talking about what's happening, you can basically just take the article, you could plug it into ChatGPT and ask it to make a script for you, right? That is one of the easiest and most powerful ways to get the most relevant, up-to-date information without worrying about ChatGPT, you know, screwing things up and giving you information that's not really valid or relevant. So finding a lot of articles, because there's some being posted by the day, by the hour, you know, in certain states and a lot of different places. So you can literally just feed those into ChatGPT and then have them create a video. Now, what you can see what they're doing here, just so you understand, they're creating longer videos. The reason you want to create longer videos is number one, they're going to rank higher than other videos, right? So longer the video, the higher the rank, because the longer the video, the more watch time supposedly it's going to get. So if you do have an extended watch time, if you have, instead of maybe a 2-minute watch time, you have a 5, 6, 7, 8-minute watch time, YouTube's going to rank your video higher. So the longer your video is, the more potential for watch time and the higher it's going to rank. The second reason is you have more mid-roll opportunities, right? All those little mid-rolls, all those little ad spots, you can add way more of them because the video is longer, which allows you to actually maximize the earning potential on that video. So instead of making maybe $5 per 1,000 views, you can make up to $10 per 1,000 views. And I'm quite confident that a channel like this is doing $10 per 1,000 views. All right. So let's go into the 3 C's. The content difficulty, I'm going to say honestly, probably like a 2.5 out of 10. It's really quite simple to do, genuinely. All right. The cost to create something like this is very low as well. I said about $30 to $50. Maybe a little bit more because the videos are longer, but that's perfectly fine as well. I still think cost to create is maybe like a 3.5. It's very low, right? Because in retrospect, they're very simple videos. They don't have to be crazy editing and animations and all that kind of stuff. Just good, basic, captivating editing. Very simple stuff, all right? And the competition is a 1.5 out of 10. There's basically nobody doing this right now. And so it's a blue ocean opportunity because there's so many different countries, so many different states, and every single one can have a plethora of different channels that are all kind of circulating the same content. That's perfectly fine, right? So should you attempt, I give this a big yes. All right. And where do I rank this in the S to D tier? Well, let's see. I personally give this one a massive S tier. All right. Let's throw it in there under the S tier personally. All right. Now, let's move on to the next niche. All right. Now, the second channel on the list is called the Rookie Central. Now, this is a niche that I want to share. It's not necessarily about this show that they're actually creating the entire channel around, but rather the idea of choosing a show and then creating an entire channel around that show. You need to find a show that is really loved, has a lot of attention, has a lot of following, maybe even a bit of controversy. You have your fans and you have your haters. That's going to cause a lot of controversy, a lot of kind of stir, and a mixed polarity of viewers, right? So this channel specifically only has 28 videos, all right? They're monetized. They made quite a lot of money. They've already done 6 million views in just 28 videos. It's absolutely absurd. A lot of people probably haven't even heard of Rookie. I didn't even hear about Ricky. All right. So that's why I think that a niche like this is so powerful, because there is always going to be this massive sub niche, like a total addressable market has to be large enough. But you want to find a show, right, where it's very, very loved, but it's not too competitive. I think this is a perfect combination of high demand, but also low competition. This is a super, super good niche. So the best part about finding a channel like this is that you can literally just take these topics and transform them into any other show. So for example, over here, right, we have Everything I Hate About the Rookie. So you could just choose, for example, The Office as another show. You could do Everything I Hate About The Office, or The Office's Most Racist Episode, or The Biggest Plot Holes in The Office, or, obviously not this one because there's nothing about killing in The Office, right? Times The Office characters should have something. These have already performed on a channel like this. The topics themselves are of interest. If they're of interest for this show, they're definitely going to be of interest in the other show, right? And so finding these permeable topics, essentially, they can permeate from one to the next, to the next, to the next. This is how you can create great ideas. It's one of the easiest ways to succeed on YouTube is to find something that's proven on one niche and then cross it over to another one. This has happened so many times before. It's probably one of the most textbook classic ways to get a viral video is find something that's working somewhere else and bring it over to your niche. So this is a great channel because, again, not many people at all even know about the Rookie. Yet there's a guy here guy or girl, has made so much money talking about different random stuff, the love, hate, what happened to this character, that character, and they're making tens of thousands of dollars, guaranteed, right? So let's go in and rank this channel over here, okay? Now, when it comes to content difficulty, I think this is really quite simple. It's not, again, there's no heavy editing. It's just very simple stuff. They're throwing in scenes, some couple of minor animations of text, right? Some music. It's very basic stuff, super, super basic stuff. There's really not much to it. The whole thing just has captions over it. It could really honestly be done in CapCut, right? So very minimal editing. So because of that, I don't think it'd be that difficult for you to either do it yourself or find an editor to do it for you. I'm going to give it a 3 because it's sometimes harder to source the content. You have to go through and actually find the videos themselves if you're doing the edit yourself. Otherwise, you just hire someone to do it for you and they find the content. The cost to create is also very low. All right, most of the videos here are around 15 to 18, sometimes 10 minutes. So really, I think it's going to be around the same price point, around like $40 to $60. So I'm going to give this like maybe a 4. It's a little bit more on the expensive side, but really it's not expensive at all because these videos will convert right away. You could literally post 10 videos, right, at $40 and spend $400 and already have the channel monetized and making money. That's a great deal. It's a fantastic investment overall, okay? And the competition, if you choose the right channel like this, I don't think this guy has any competition. You might be genuinely the only channel that's doing this. So he's just crushing it right now. He's cruising through, getting millions and millions of views because there's a large interest here. As a large demographic, there's a total addressable market that's quite large, but there's no competition. So I would say, again, 1 for something like this, at least this specific channel. Right? But there might be other ones you get into, other shows that are much more popular and they become more competitive. So if you find a really good sweet spot like this channel, you're winning, right? You've already won. So should you attempt? Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. So I think something like this, I'm also going to give it a solid S tier. All right. Well-deserved S tier. So let's continue. Now, the third channel is called DM's Mysteries. This is another storytelling channel, one of those fall asleep to information channels that have been literally crushing it. All right. So, this is not one of those mega channels. It's not making like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but just to show you how simple it is to do a channel like this. All right. They're basically just playing Star Wars. As you can see, they're literally just recording themselves playing Star Wars. All right. So, if you have the game, the content will cost you nothing. If you don't have the game, it'll cost you $17 on Steam to buy and then record your own content. So you literally just record the content and then you basically create a script with AI, you add a voiceover with AI, and then you create a video. And these are just like the entire storyline. Your life is this, your life is this, the worst time to be born is this. So obviously the views aren't tremendous. Like a channel like this still is going to take a time to take off. I think that one of the main things, the leading indicators of a channel like this doing really, really well is daily uploads. These guys are not doing daily uploads. All right. But within 39 videos, they've already accumulated 500,000 views, which is not that bad, especially when channels like this reach RPMs of around $15 to $25, right? So you're not getting paid $3, $4, $5 per thousand views. You're getting paid 5 to 10x the same amount, right? So $15 to $25 is incredible. Every million views, you're making around 15,000 to 25,000. All right, so say it's on the higher end, say 20,000 or $20 per 1,000 views. If you made only 500,000 views, you've already made $10,000 if your RPM is 20, which it's very likely somewhere around that realm. So imagine $10,000 earned for just recording yourself playing Star Wars, adding an AI voiceover, an AI script, and a very simple AI thumbnail. This is all done in AI, ChatGPT, and 11 Labs or some sort of voiceover software. It's extremely simple to make. So let's go rank this one. All right. So content difficulty, I'd say like 0.5. It's so simple to make this. Anyone can do this. It's probably the most like low barrier of entry, open to the entire world type of content and channel to make. And you don't have to do Star Wars. You could literally do Batman, right? You could do whatever video game you want, Call of Duty, literally anything you want. You can create your own content. You can create these very long stories, the timeline, why it sucks to be this, whatever. And then just create the rest of the stuff with AI, basically with AI, the scripting with AI, the voiceover with AI, and the thumbnail with AI. And then record your own content and put it together. Just throw it into CapCut, add the overlay of the voiceover, add a captions on the video, and let it play. Right? That's all it is. So the cost to create, again, 0.5. Competition, 2. You know what I mean? There's not many people doing this where they're actually recording their own gameplay. There's a handful of channels. So I honestly, realistically, this should be a 1, right? So should you attempt, if you're in the market for something that's not that difficult, something that could be fun for you, if you already enjoy, playing video games, if you enjoy specific games and learning about them and creating videos about them, this could be an amazing niche, guys. So let's go back up to the top and rank this one. I'm personally going to have to give this one another S tier, guys. This is phenomenal niches. Like, again, it's hitting off all the crazy metrics of like a holistically good channel for a beginner. Because another thing I'm putting an emphasis on is like, if you're starting into YouTube automation, you don't want to go into the challenging niches, guys. Don't go into some finance niche and real estate because they pay our high RPM. Don't do that stuff, guys. You're in the deep end with the sharks without having any experience and very low budget, very likely. Right? So these are the niches that if you're trying to get in with not much experience are phenomenal niches for beginners. So I need to start putting some A's and B's and C's. But for right now, we're hitting some crazy niches, and I really encourage you guys to really strongly look into these because they are amazing. So this leads us to the next niche, which is Captain Workout. All right, this is a really cool niche. So this is essentially just a workout channel teaching things about muscle growth, protein, workouts, why they're not working, how to fix them, calisthenics versus gym. This is really, really interesting because they've only had 39 videos. It's actually not even 39 videos. It's about 9 full-length videos, 9 full-length videos because the rest are in shorts. And if we actually split this up, let me see the stats here. So I want to go over here because I don't want to look at the total amount of views. I want to see the amount of views that came in from the full-length, the long-form videos, which is about 8 million views, guys. 8 million views in 9 videos. That's phenomenal. So a channel like this is really, really lucrative because there's not actually that much competition for this style of content. But there are some caveats. So this is not like the other ones, because if we go back over here and try and build this list, so content difficulty, this is now where it goes up to like an 8.5, all right? They're no longer simple videos. All these videos are heavily animated. They're cartooned, they're animated. This can be done yourself with AI, with CapCut. It can all be done. But for your average person doing this like doesn't have all the editing experience, it's going to be almost impossible, right? Or extremely time consuming. So this is where, okay, yes, the niche is very lucrative, but it's not going to be nearly as easy as the next niche. So content difficulty is high. Cost to create, if you want to do it correctly, 9 out of 10. All right. A video like this is probably going to cost you upwards of $100 to outsource, or an incredibly large amount of your own time to create. All right. Competition, I'm going to give this one a 2. There's a few people that have been catching on to this and they've been kind of starting. They're all crushing it. But reality is that there's not many people doing this. So if you have the budget, then this is a fantastic niche. If you're not working with the large budget, then it's going to be a no, right? You probably want to avoid this one at all costs. So let's go ahead and rank this one. So since it's a very low-key niche, I'm going to give it a B tier, right? But because not many people are able to afford a $100 video, it's going to have to go down to B, right? I'd love to give it an A, but realistically, again, there's not many people that can afford $100 a video. So because of that, we're going to have to obviously put in B. It's just a little bit more risky than the other ones. All right, moving on, we have the next niche, which is senior health, but with a bit of a twist. All right, so this one's called senior men's health. There's a traditional senior health, all right, where you're teaching people how to fix their dementia, their lower back pains, their leg pains, all these different diseases and conditions. That's like the general health videos. All right. But then there's this. This is like senior health with a twist. It's obviously much more on the edgy side, the more sexualized side, and maybe a little bit more, well, actually a lot more risky, right? So these channels run the risk of getting demonetized because you're speaking on more sexualized topics and you're giving sexual advice. This is a bit more risky, so you have to be a bit more careful with the wording, kind of blurring out certain things, not being super upfront about what you're saying, but maybe like hiding it behind other variable words, etc. So even like this, you can't really put full-on words here. You know, I'm begging you, eat this fruit, and this will happen, right? But this is very clickbait content, extremely clickbait content. They're doing one video a day, which is pretty standard. I have about 3 or 4 students in this niche, not the sexualized version, but the regular version, and they're all making tens of thousands of dollars. It's a very profitable niche. This one arguably is even more lucrative, all right? They only have 83 videos. They've already generated 4.8 million views. And for a video that's about 25 minutes long and US-based audience, it's going to definitely be paying around upwards of $15 per 1,000 views. They've definitely made a healthy bag off this channel already. And it didn't even start that long ago. It's just 3 months old. It's a very new channel. And if you look at the video, it's very simple to make. It's literally just a couple stock videos that are going over, which is just an AI. This is like a HeyGen avatar. All right, just a girl that's sitting there in an office, all created by AI. All right, so she's sitting in there, different outfits every single time, but it's the exact same thing. It's a HeyGen avatar. She's wearing a doctor suit. She's got the doctor stuff all over. It looks legit. It sounds legit, but it's just an AI avatar. And a lot of the elderly people can't really tell the difference. And so, yeah, it's one of those niches that honestly, it works. If you want to go down the more riskier side and just kind of play your cards, then this is a pretty good niche. So I'm going to go ahead and rank it. I'll give you a small piece of advice if you are going to do this one as well, so you don't screw yourself over and destroy your entire YouTube journey, because there's one small thing you could do which could screw you over. And by the way, guys, if I forgot to mention it, I'm leaving the best for last. All right, there's one specific niche that I probably would recommend to absolutely everyone if you're going to go into YouTube. It's a little bit challenging. I'll tell you the challenges that are there, but also I'll tell you exactly how to crush it. Like my student who literally within 9 videos has already generated $10,000 and is completely blown up and is changed his entire life in 2 months of starting the channel. Like he literally went from working as a server to making $10,000 in 2 months. All right. Pretty good niche. So you definitely want to stick around to the end to see that one. All right. So let's talk about this one, the content difficulty. I'm going to give this one a 1.5 because realistically, yeah, it's a bit tedious. It takes some time to learn how to create the HeyGen avatar and all that stuff. But once you create your first 5 videos, it becomes incredibly simple. I have people that are making tens of thousands of dollars in my program, and they're making all the videos themselves, right? And they have kids, family, hobbies. They're very busy people, and yet they can still create 3 videos a day on their own because the content difficulty is very small. Cost to create, 0.5. All right, this content is super cheap to make. HeyGen is like a one-time monthly recurring cost. And then if you want to use CapCut, again, that's free as well. You can add a couple B-roll in there. The voiceovers you can get for free. You know, AI scripting you can get for free, basically. So the cost to create content is extremely low. Competition, I mean, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. It's very competitive. So it's going to take a while. It's not going to be those channels where you post 3 videos, 5 videos, 15 videos, 30 videos even. You could not blow up or see any traction for upwards of 60 to 90 videos. which by the way is kind of normal. The longest I've had a student of mine create videos before he finally had traction was 90 videos. And now he's making tens of thousands of dollars, right? But just realize that because of the competition, you have to post and post and post and post and post. And it's not just posting the same garbage content over and over again. You have to make iterations. You have to evolve the channel. You have to check your data and make data-driven decisions and try new thumbnails and try new titles and look at the data. And it is still an active effort. It's not just post, 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 and one day it'll make you a millionaire. It's not like that. So this is a very challenging niche. So should you attempt? I primarily say no. There's a lot of risk. So there's a lot of risk involved, especially if you do it this way, which is a sexualized way, right? Because you are kind of doing things that are against YouTube's terms of service, right? Specific words, specific topics. It can still work. The channel is monetized, but you run the risk of getting demonetized. And so the one thing I'm going to say, if you decide to do this, is you want to make sure you're separating this channel from all your other channels or all your other emails. So make sure you're creating an individual email for this channel. It's a separate channel, right? It's not related, not connected to any of your other channels. And then ideally, if you have a second AdSense, you also connect that second AdSense to this one. And you're not supposed to have two AdSenses, but you can. And if you want to keep yourself super safe and make sure you don't screw your original AdSense over, you connect it to a second AdSense. That's my 2 cents. I'll leave it at that. Because yeah, if you're going to try this, it's a bit risky, and you could run the risk if this channel gets deleted, terminated, and they terminate your AdSense, you lose all the channels that are connected to your email, and you lose your AdSense, and then you're hooped from YouTube, right? So by the way, if you do lose your AdSense, there are ways to get an AdSense back. It's not the end of the world. It's just not the easiest thing in the world either. All right. So should you attempt? No. I'm going to give this one in the tier list a nice, easy C tier. All right. Because obviously it's lucrative, guys, but it's very competitive, and it's also very, very risky. The average person will not succeed. The reason why I even have students that are succeeding is because we're very hands-on, very thorough with the way that we audit their channels, give them feedback. We're very hands-on, right? So that's why they're able to make tens of thousands of dollars, because they're working with professionals. Otherwise, the average person who doesn't really know what they're doing is going to have a very hard time creating a video like this, all right? So let's move on to the next channel. We have here a channel called Grace Tales. So Grace Tales is a very interesting channel. I have previous students who have done this niche, which is the true crime and the courtroom drama channel, but this is that with a twist. It's actually 800 times easier to create the content, but again, a little more challenging, right? So this content is not actually scenes of things happening in the courtroom. This is literally just AI stories. AI stories that have been created with AI, with an AI voiceover and AI images and AI thumbnails and AI everything. It's an AI slop channel, but it does actually work. All right. So you want to add a few animations, some zooming in, some zooming out, ideally some different images. But this stuff can work. And the thing is, it can work, but it also cannot work. And I say cannot work because it could also run the risk of getting demonetized or not even monetized to begin with, which is also very risky. Right. So a channel like this is literally just going to be the AI story. Right, you see it's just like a zoom in, slow zoom out, repeating. I personally would try this channel with a bunch of different images, at least like 10, 15, 20 different images of different things that are happening as the story is kind of unfolding. But they don't even do that, and it's working for them. But again, it's very risky. They could have a specific type of monetized channel. They could be working under an MCN, which allows them to create content without getting in trouble. So a lot of other variables here. So it's not just about copying them to a T and being okay. It's actually quite risky what they're doing. But again, if you are looking for something that is not that difficult to create, meaning we literally give this like a 1 out of 10, it's super simple. The cost to create, again, a 1 out of 10 is very cheap. And the competition, I'm going to give it a 10. You know, there's a lot of channels that are doing this stuff. It's not that difficult. And it's just something that has a lot of risks that carry with it. All right. So should you attempt? I personally would say no. But again, if you're really looking for something that's not that difficult, this might be a pretty good, interesting niche for you to follow. Okay. So I'm going to give this one over here. Again, a C tier. All right, let's move it into the C tier class. All right, and that brings us to the next niche, which is Spongebob Universe. Now, some of you guys may know the other channel I discussed in previous videos, which was Gumball Universe, which sounds like this guy just took that idea and went into SpongeBob, but actually it's the exact same owner. He has all 3 of his channels that are featured, and so you can literally go through. You see Gumball channel, he also has SML Universe. He's crushing it with the whole universe stuff. So let's talk about this channel very quickly. Is it a good niche? Is it not a good niche? Honestly, it's a phenomenal niche. This is one of those things where SpongeBob and all these other shows are evergreen. People are super interested in them. It's a year-round channel. It's worked in the past. It's going to work today. It's going to work for the next 5-10 years. Guaranteed. It's a fantastic channel to get into. But let's talk about the resistance points, okay? So content difficulty, if you want to follow it just like Gumball, or in this case, SpongeBob, it's going to be quite difficult. I'd give it honestly a 9. It's expensive content. It takes quite a bit of a qualified and experienced editor to create the content just like this. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be cheap. All right, cost to create, 9 again. You're spending at least $100, maybe even $150 if you want a quality video just like these guys are doing. Competition, it's not even that it's not that competitive. I'd still give it a 7.5, maybe 8, 8.5. It's really quite competitive. So should you attempt? Yes and no. It's not going to be the easiest one, but if you have the capital, the budget, and the competence, this could be one of those niches that really pops off and gets you to 10K a month very, very quickly, all right? But for the faint of heart and for the beginners, maybe I don't fully recommend it. Again, so I'm trying to give you guys a vast amount of options. Some of them that are more competitive, some of them are more easier, but some of them that are cheaper. A lot of different ones, all right? Beginner friendly, more mid. This is a really, really good niche list because again, I'm spreading out quite wide. I'm not just going for like the low barrier of entry ones. I'm not just going for AI slop. I'm trying to give you guys genuine faceless channels that have amazing chances of working, but now you kind of understand what you're up against. If you're okay with a higher content cost, or if you're okay with a higher competition, you can choose accordingly. All right. So we're going to rank this one accordingly as well. Because of genuinely how lucrative this niche is and how much attention there is and how evergreen it is, I'm still going to give it an A tier because this stuff works so well and they get tens of millions of views. All right, even a channel like this that's brand new, it just started not that long ago, they've already cleared 2.2 million views. They're brand new channel. All right, so there's obviously a lot of potential here, a lot of interest, and this is just the beginning. The Gumball one has cleared even more. I'll show you guys quickly what they've done with the Gumball channel. With only 57 videos in Gumball, which many people don't even know what Gumball is, they've already cleared 34 million views. All right, 34 million views is absolutely absurd. Right? And this is a pretty low-key cartoon versus SpongeBob, right? So I can't even imagine what they're going to do once they have almost 60 videos of SpongeBob. It's going to do crazy numbers, right? So it's obviously a very good niche to get. Now, the next channel is called East Money. It's not really about going for what East Money is doing. It's just the idea of documentaries. Documentaries are a phenomenal niche to get into. They're pretty like standard and safe, to be honest. If you're going to go into something and you want to make sure you're going to make money and, have this evergreen cash flow that's going to make you money for a very long time, this is a really good niche to get into. This is just documentaries, right? So they're much more lengthier to make. They're more difficult. They do cost more and they require maybe a bit more of an advanced understanding of script writing and editing and stuff like this and thumbnail design. But if you have a little bit more experience than the next person or something you're very passionate about, then this would be a really good niche to get into. All right, so with 68 videos, they've cleared 5 million views, which again is not crazy impressive. But again, let's say out of a passion project to make back a few $1,000, I think they made over well over $10,000-$15,000 is still very impressive, right? So they've already made back their money. They're profitable. It's cash flowing, and it's not that hard to make. These aren't like 2-hour videos, 1-hour videos, 40-minute videos. They're just 10-minute documentaries. It's actually not that difficult, not that complex, not that expensive to create something like this, right? So let's go ahead and rate this channel over here. The content difficulty, I'm still going to give it a 5 out of 10 because you want to have more quality content than not. The cost to create, I'm going to give it a 6.5 because you want to have good editing, which means it's going to cost you a little bit more. I'd range this one maybe around the $50 to $75 per video. And the competition, I'm going to give it like a 6 because yes, there's a lot of competition, but in reality, it works so well. It's always a topic of interest. It can always work for a very long time without hesitation. All right, so you can just jump into a documentary channel and predictably do well within the first 3 to 5 videos, which is great for any beginner, right? So should you attempt, I'm going to give this one a yes. All right, definitely a great channel to get into. And if we're going to rank it, let's go ahead and give this an A tier because it is a very solid channel to get into for beginners. Lots of potential cash flow and upside, and it's not that difficult to create, all right, and find teams and execute. So I'd say it's a pretty good channel overall. The next channel is going to be called Psyche Depth. Now, this one is a very controversial one, in my opinion, controversial to me, because I've had some students who have attempted this niche and they haven't done the best, but I've also had some that have done really, really well. But for them, it just took a very long time. So I've had some that didn't succeed and some that did succeed, but it took a very long time. But we see a channel like this that has 200 videos, which is quite a lot. That generated 11 million views. All right, their oldest video is only 5 months old. So they've been hammering through content, absolutely hammering, right? They are posting a lot of content. This last month, they've already cleared 4 million views, 4.7 million views just this month alone. And their content's good, right? Because it's long content, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 24 minutes. So they're making at least like a $6 to $8 RPM. All right, so just doing some quick math, $6 to $8 RPM. Let's call it a $8 RPM because really it should be on the upside. And they've done 4.7 million views. Let's call it 5 million views. So you take 5 million divided by 1,000, you get 5,000 times 8 is $40,000. They made $40,000 this month alone creating content like this. Now, if you want to emulate this kind of content, it's going to cost a little bit more. I don't know if these are custom animations or they're taking from a pool of some random stock video. I don't think so. I think it's all custom. So because the fact that it's custom, it's going to be harder. Do you have to do custom animations like them? No, but you're probably not going to get the same kind of results. So let's go ahead and rank this one accordingly. All right. Here we have content difficulty. If you're going to copy them, probably a 9.5 out of 10, right? But if you do it your own way, it can work, but it's likely not going to be nearly as lucrative. Cost to create, 10 out of 10. Again, if you copy them. If you don't copy them and find an alternative way to create the content, then it doesn't have to be as expensive. Competition, I'm going to call it 6 out of 10. So overall, it's a challenging niche, but I still think if you have the budget, right, and you're willing to take the challenge, this is a crazy niche, guys. They're making $40,000 a month in literally 5 months, guys. To start something 5 months ago and today be making 40,000, that's just this month. They've already collected tens of thousands of dollars over the months. That's a really good niche. So I can't deny that this niche has value, right? There's a lot of value and a lot of potential in this niche. So I would really consider it for sure. And I would have to give this one a genuine A tier simply because of how crazy the numbers are and how fast they've achieved it and how anyone can just come into this. And if you use AI, you can kind of emulate that content, emulate their editing style, but with AI, which is going to obviously drop your cost, increase the work, but still drop your cost and make it more realistic for the average person to see the same results. All right, let's move on to the next, which is going to be Bart's Watch Stories. All right, this is a channel that has 13 videos. They've already collected 1.5 million views, and they just literally create documentaries on different watches or just different topics around watches, right? There's a lot of watch lovers, a lot of watch enthusiasts, and it's a very interesting channel and niche to get into. It's not your traditional like celebrity or real estate or whatever type of videos. This is for the watch connoisseurs. If you love watches, you're obsessed with watches, you can make a watch channel. All right, this is great content. It's actually like pretty simple but pretty good content. I'm not going to say it's like below average. It's definitely above average in terms of the editing, the script writing. Everything is pretty good here. All right, the thumbnails are super simple. It's just a timepiece, whichever one you choose, and that's it. There's no text on it. There's maybe an arrow here and there, maybe sometimes a bit of text to it, but seriously, it's very easy to content to make. All right, how Casio made an indestructible watch. Super easy video to make, like very easy video to make. This is not complex, doesn't take an advanced veteran anything that's super high level to create content like this. So I'd say in terms of content difficulty, I'd call this like a 2.5. Very easy content to make, topics in abundance. I think they're really underutilizing the potential of that channel. Like they should be posting one video every other day, you know, with the potential and how much money they've already made with the channel. Cost to create, I'd say 3.5, honestly, because it's not going to cost you more than like $50 to $60 to create a video like that, a good quality one. Competition, I don't know, 2.5. There's no one doing this stuff, guys. There's literally no one doing this stuff. So if you're into watches, right? If you're into watches, I'd have to give this one a yes, right? Definitely a good niche to get into. And so for the channel ranking, I'd also have to give this one an A tier. All right, A tier simply because there's no competition, massive upside, cost to create content is quite low, and there's no competition. So I'd really get into it. I think I said competition twice, but you get the point. All right, let's move on to the next channel, which is Order 77. Order 77 is a Star Wars channel. I want to talk about Star Wars, not because it's Star Wars, but just the idea of going for a very popular show. It could be Star Wars, could be Game of Thrones, could be any of these channels that revolve around a very popular series that's been around for a while. It's popular today, and it's definitely going to be popular for a very long time. Right? So maybe it's Stranger Things, maybe it's anything else. So a channel like this has 18 videos, all right? And they've already collected 1.2 or 1.1 million views, which is really good because the content's very simple to make. It's very, very simple content. It's just scenes from the show, scenes from the movies, the series, whatever it is, simple text on screen, very easy stuff, all right? I have a student that's doing $40,000 in this niche, not this kind of editing, a different kind of editing, but the upside is crazy, guys. To make 40,000 in a channel that's talking about Star Wars. First of all, I was going to ask you personally, I'm going to ask you, how would you think you could possibly make $20, $30, $50,000 a month with Star Wars? Say you're a Star Wars fan. There's no other way other than YouTube automation to make that kind of money because you're creating content about something you love. People are watching it, consuming it, and you're just getting paid on ads, right? If you wanted to make that kind of money with Star Wars, you couldn't. You'd have to work for Star Wars. You'd have to sell Star Wars merch, which you can't do either of those. So that's why YouTube is just completely goated in this day and age. If you want to make money online, doing something you're passionate about without having to show your face and expose yourself and, you know, resort to any, like, have any risks. And there's none. It's overall a fantastic business to get into. All right. So let's go ahead and rank this niche. Content difficulty, like 3.5. It's really not that difficult. Cost to create, 3.5. Really cheap, around like $40 to $60 on average. All right. Competition, this one specifically, 7.5, maybe even an 8, to be honest. Is quite competitive, but it's a very popular TV series. There's a lot of topics. There's a lot of desire. The total addressable market's very, very large. So I would give this a yes. And it, again, doesn't have to be Star Wars. It could be any other channel doing the same topics, right? So whatever you see here, the dark story of, right? The most disturbing legend of, the entire story of, the disturbing life of, you can do these same topics for other channels, for other shows. You don't have to do Star Wars. I just want to show you guys the potential here, all right? Now let's go ahead and rate this one. I'm going to give it a solid A tier. Simply because, again, shows are just underutilized, under-talked about, underused. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many TV shows that are crazy popular. And if you know how to edit the content to not get hit with copyright, you're guaranteed income. It's literally guaranteed safe income. It's one of the best ways to rack up a genuine income stream online while making videos about things you love, right? And it's just infinitely scalable and it's evergreen. It's a great niche. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the next one, which is kind of similar. It's called Emyrain. All right, Emyrain is kind of a channel that is similar to some other ones you see, maybe like the Why It Sucks or the whiteboard animation style, but it's really literally just scenes. There's no actual edits or animations, or it's very simple stuff. It's just scenes with a script and a voiceover. And of course, they're making sure not to run the scenes longer than 5 to 7 seconds for copyright purposes, but that's it. There's nothing to it. They don't actually add animations. These thumbnails are done with AI. Very easy content. So imagine they posted 6 videos and they generated 186,000 views. That's insane. All right. And they've not posted it in 5 months. They just attempted this channel and then just disappeared. God knows what happened to them. Right. But this just shows you that there's massive potential if you find, again, a sub niche channel with a sub niche show. Right. So this is Omni-Man. Right. Or whatever show. I don't know. The Omni-Man, I think, I'm not really sure. I don't really watch these comics. But this one obviously is about Naruto, right? What if Bender uses his powers? But if you just, for example, this is an Omni-Man topic that popped off and did 134,000 views, you could create an Omni-Man channel. There's obviously massive demand, right? Now, one small thing to just factor in, because it's cartoons and anime and focus on children's content, it's going to pay less. You're probably going to be between $2 to $3 per 1,000 views. But guys, I'm telling you, it's still worth it because the views are just coming in abundance. They collect like crazy and crazy fast. So overall, let's go ahead and give this one a probably 2 out of 10 for content difficult, costly to create, maybe a 3. You're looking at like $30 to $40 per video. Competition, if you do it right, choose the right niche, 3 out of 10. Should you attempt it? Hell yes, guys. Get in some of this. Take these topics from here and post them into the next channel, right? Into the next show. Carbon copy, guys. Carbon copy what's already working and fold it into your own niche. All right, so ranking this one, I'd have to give this one also a solid A tier. It's so good. It's so easy to create the content. Most of it's done with AI. It's a no-brainer channel to get into. All right. Now, this next one is called Dream Incognito. A couple things with this one. So if you watch the videos, it's actually in Indian or Hindu or something. It's a different language, which is not what you would expect just based on the thumbnails, especially everything's in English. But it's the idea itself that's proven to work that you can do for your own channel. All right. All the things about Reddit mostly, all right, disgusting stories on Reddit, disgusting things found on the internet or Reddit or demonic items. Like, this is just really compilation stuff of stories that you find on the internet, or you can ask ChatGPT for these stories and then creating videos around them, right? So hiring an editor to find these scenes and put it together, and that's it. And this stuff is super clickbait, right? So again, they stopped posting and 5 months ago. I have no idea why. But within 6 videos, they already did 1.1, almost 1.2 million views. That's incredible, guys. That shows massive potential. And the channel's monetized, guys. It's not like this is just content and views. It is legitimately monetized, legitimately making money. The content difficulty is probably a 3 out of 10. It's very easy to find the topics and create the videos. The cost to create, 4.5. It's going to cost maybe a bit of money to like get a quality editor. So we're maybe paying like $50 to $70 for a video, but you're getting really good videos. In competition, 4.5. Technically, there's a lot of people doing this, but not really at the same time, not doing it correctly. So if you're interested in getting into the super clickbaity niche and something that's definitely going to do well. Again, I showed you quite a few that, within 5, 6, 7 videos, they're getting a lot of traction. They're sought after topics. People love this kind of stuff. So yes, I would definitely attempt this if you're interested in this kind of niche. So I'm going to give this one, honestly, an S tier, guys. It is a crazy niche, underrated. It, it's a goated niche. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this one is called The Arrow. It's going to be more around geopolitics. Geopolitics is a very interesting niche because it works really well. It's high demand. These things go viral like crazy fast, but it poses risks. So we'll talk about both the upsides and downsides. So a channel like this has posted 15 videos and they have 7 million views. Just going to let you sit with that one for a second. 15 videos, 7 million views. These videos are going crazy. Netherlands stopped being the world's most horrible country. Muslims flee to Europe, not to rich Muslim countries. So a lot of things about Muslims, Arab countries, war, Netherlands, immigration. These are really interesting topics. How do 15 million people make up 50% of world's top billionaires? So obviously speaking about the Jewish community, here they're putting the image and the text up there because they don't want to put it there in the text of the title because it's a bit controversial. And you can see 500,000 views in 4 months. And it's such a simple video that they've made. There's no editing animations. There's no crazy fast-paced stuff. It's literally like simple AI script, simple AI voiceover, simple editing, and easy Canva thumbnails. So the risks are that if you get too geopolitical, if you get too overall political and have a very controversial standpoint, a very opposing standpoint, it can run the risk of getting demonetized, terminated, all that kind of stuff. So obviously it's a bit risky. All right. Content difficulty, 2 out of 10. Cost to create, 2.5 out of 10. Very cheap. Competition, 3 out of 10. All right. But of course, it's a bit risky. So that's just up to you and your risk adversity overall, if you feel like it's worthwhile for you or not. But I'd say it's a pretty damn solid niche. If you're willing to take the risk, go for it. I wouldn't advise it to everybody. So I'd still kind of keep it as, I'm going to keep it as yes and no. I don't think you should go for it because it's super risky. But if you're wanting to play your cards and go for something that's, super high yield and great reward, and you're willing to accept the necessary risk, this is a great niche. I personally wouldn't put any of my students into this niche because I don't like politics in general. I think it's super risky. But again, for the average person, if you're wanting to go into something and try and milk it as fast as you can and make some money, it is worthwhile. I just like to play the safe, straight and narrow road, making sure that nothing gets terminated, that we don't have, demonetizations and stuff like that. I wouldn't go for it. I wouldn't put any of my students in it, but I'm just showing it to you guys because it is a good niche. And I think it's just something that should be at least made aware of as an option. All right. So let's go ahead and rank this one. I'm going to give it an overall C tier simply because, again, it's risky, but the yield and return can be incredibly high. All right. So now this next one is Dunker Goat. Now this one is very similar to the most traditional basketball channel, which is called Hoopers or Hoopflix. I think they've been around for years. They actually stopped posting because the content just kind of got overdone. I think there's a bit of a pendulum where at one point it was swinging all the way here and everyone was creating this kind of content, like NBA players getting caught cheating, Times crazy fans ruin NBA, all the traditional like super clickbaity thumbnails where like there's the podium at the top, falls down onto the court and then just destroys everything. All these super clickbaity thumbnails that obviously never happened in the video, right? People got really sick of it. They stopped watching it. The viewership went down. But the thing is, pendulums always swing back, right? Pendulums need to swing back. So everyone got super acclimated to that type of content and it became boring and no one's watching it anymore. So it went all the way to the left, pendulum was set. Now it's been a very long time since that content has been created because no one wanted to watch it anymore. And the pendulum is slowly itching and scratching its way back to the other side where it's of interest, it's in demand. So something like this, like if I see 4 weeks ago, they're still posting and they've been posting this kind of content, like I wouldn't say it's the craziest niche still, but the fact that even 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago got like quite a lot of views with the same style content as Hoopflix, that tells me that the pendulum is swinging back and there's slowly more and more demand for this kind of content, which makes this, again, a blue ocean strategy because no one's creating this kind of content. So I want to feature this one as kind of still, it's a risky niche, but it's not that bad. So content difficulty, I'd say it's like a 2 out of 10 because you could repeat everything that's already worked in the past and just create it again. Cost to create, I'd say a 5. You do want to create good quality content. It has to be engaging, good animations, fast-paced editing, kind of brain rot style content. It's very quick, very like, yeah, engaging type of editing. Competition at this point is like 2.5. There's no one doing this stuff. Everyone completely stopped doing hooflick style content because it doesn't perform. But now it's kind of starting to. So it's risky, but if you're willing to go for the risk and you're okay with the overall risk of it not working, then it's definitely a good niche. But because of the fact that it's not proven, that's one channel that I have there, and there's not much more case studies. At least I didn't obviously look for them, but I'm gonna have to give this a D tier. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Doesn't mean it's a bad niche. I'm just not saying that it's better or anywhere close to any of the ones I've featured today, and also had to shove something in D tier, at least for this video. So do what you will with that information, but personally, I just maybe not go for that niche specifically. Let's move on to the next one. All right, now this next one is called Ear to Hear. Very interesting channel. All right, this is a Christian biblical channel. I have to say right now, guys, Christian channels are crushing. If you want a very safe channel to go into, that's absolutely crushing almost every single time. I have probably like 20 students all on Christian channels. Every single one is crushing it. Thousands and thousands of dollars, millions of views coming in. All right. This is a really interesting channel because actually the owner of the channel is integrated in the content. All right. So you don't have to do this. Of course, no one really will naturally, but I'm just showing you this channel because the topics that they're doing are phenomenal. They're a little bit controversial, but they're really captivating, really interesting. And they've crushed it also with the thumbnails. Really good thumbnail design. And a channel like this within 48 videos has already generated 42, almost 43 million views. That's insane with their oldest video, sorry, being 2 years ago. But guys, they've only really been posting for like 2 years ago, they did only 6 videos. And then only this last year, they've been actually posting content. And again, it's 48 videos, guys. You could do 48 videos in like 6 months if you really wanted to, you know? So it's all about how long you actually take to create that content. I wouldn't look at a channel like being 2 years old. You could look at it by the amount of videos. If they have 10 videos in 2 years, that's not that it took just a 2-year-old channel. That's just they're very lazy and they never created content. So if you actually take this thing seriously and create content adamantly, you can get out 40 videos in 6 months at the very least, right? So a channel like this is really interesting because the Christianity niche is working so well. There's a very high demand for it. And there's this kind of like strange correlation between massive subscriber increase very quickly. Like we have the fastest and highest ratio of viewer to subscriber in any channel than any other channel than in Christian niche is a massive, it's like insane. So if you want to get up a channel monetized very, very quickly, just create biblical content. It'll get monetized like in front of your eyes. And then obviously it'll just keep on popping off and very consistent views, very consistent growth. It's a great niche. So content difficulty, it's not that difficult to create this content. I still give it a 3. It's a little bit challenging to get the good topics, but it's very easy to do. Cost to create 3, maybe 3.5, very cheap. I'd say about $20 to $40 to create a content, like good quality content. Competition, 10 out of 10, but that doesn't mean it's not bad or not good. It's a very good niche to get into, even with all the competition. There's so much room in this niche because there's so many Christians. There's such a large total addressable market, right? Should you attempt it? Yes, it's not that risky, to be honest. It's a pretty safe bet, and it's super lucrative, guys. Like I'm telling you here, all right? So I would personally give this one a S tier. It's got to be S tier. And it's not necessarily this channel and the way they're creating it, but the Christianity niche in general is a solid S tier for me. Okay. Let's move on to the last and final niche. If you guys have stuck it around all the way to here, you guys are MVPs, genuinely. You're obviously disciplined and committed to making this thing work and also educating yourself along the way with the right kind of information. So I have to give you guys a round of applause because we're like an hour into this video mostly, and you guys have been just cruising through, absorbing information, hopefully taking some notes, and I respect that a lot, guys. So if you guys end up choosing one of these niches, I recommend going back to my channel and watching my other content because I have so many tutorials on how to do this YouTube game properly and not make silly mistakes. But if you want to work one-on-one with me and make sure that you guys are guaranteed success within 6 months, we have an actual guarantee for this. We have 11 group calls per week. You get access to me directly, your own dedicated coach, and a massive community with people who are winning and making tens of thousands of dollars. Then click the link below to book a call with my team and see if we're a good fit, guys. All right, let's move on to the last and the final niche on the list. We have here Stickman Scientist, and I'm giving you guys a really cool channel here because it's actually one of my students' channels. All right, this is a student by the name of Lewis. He was a server 2 months ago, and now after 2 months, he literally has had a life-changing transformation where 2 of his videos have gone off and made a tremendous amount of money. You can see here, he's done 3.4 million views in 2 weeks of posting his content. And this one of his first videos, got 770,000 views. He's accumulated almost $10,000 on his channel. So this content is very easy to make. This is explainer style content. It's in demand. It's general stuff. It's not even a specific niche. It's just using different interesting things and creating videos around them. All right, the scripting is simple. The videos are simple to create. The thumbnails are super easy to create. You can get it all by yourself in Canva. He's doing everything himself with Canva, AI, and just a hired editor. All right, so content difficulty, genuinely a 1.2. Cost to create at 3.5. You're going to spend between $40 to $60 for the editor. Competition, 2 out of 10. There's quite a few people doing this, but really there's so much interest. So would you attempt this? Yes, 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 yes. Like it doesn't have to be this channel. You don't have to copy this channel. Anything to do with explainers is working so incredibly well. All my students are crushing it. They're making tens of thousands of dollars, getting monetized within 3 to 4 weeks. It's incredible to see the results and how quick we're getting traction and getting students to 10K a month. Like he's literally about to hit 10K a month within 2 months. That's unheard of. And he's not the only one. We have so many of these students, all right? So where would I put this? It doesn't even belong on S tier. It's like way beyond S tier, you know, but I'm obviously going to give this an S tier because it's the highest class. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you guys want the entire list of all the channels, I have them all here. You can just join the first link in the description and join the free school community. Again, when we go live, there's a free course, a massive community, almost 10,000 people. It's literally one of the largest communities of YouTube automation. You need to be there, obviously. And then if you want to work with me directly, it's the first link under that one, which is a direct link to book a call with my team and see if we're a good fit. I also recommend watching this video over here if you need to understand what YouTube automation is better and have a much better journey, making less mistakes and working your way straight to success, accelerating that learning curve and making money online, guys. I appreciate you watching to the end. You guys are MVPs. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.